And here on the main stage, I already see Inge and Renee. Good morning. Inge is going to take us through the experiments that IKEA has been running to improve processes and the results that they have achieved in terms of productivity, happier customers, and engagement of people working in their stores. I leave the stage to you guys, and I'll see you in half an hour. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. Well, it's a pleasure to have you all here with us. Inge, she's working at IKEA, and of course we all know IKEA from the furniture and everything else, the Swedish meatballs and many more products. Inge, it's a pleasure to host you here. We're looking forward to your story, and have a go.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Renee. Looking forward to it. It's difficult now because you cannot see how many people are in the session, so I'll just pretend it's Renee, and then we'll do fine. So, hey, welcome. You see big on the screen, hey, this is how we say hi in Swedish. We use it a lot within IKEA, although I'm not even Swedish, I'm Dutch, but I say hey all the time. So I'll talk to you the next 20 minutes on how we are making small improvements count, trying to empower all of our coworkers to make daily improvements within their own circle of influence. So let's start. These three topics I will go through with you. Short introduction to IKEA. We often think we all know IKEA, but that's an assumption. So I'll just give you a brief introduction of what we're about, then how we have come from strategy to action, and then how we apply that action in reality. Good. So we have a vision. It tells us why we are here, and our vision is to create a better everyday life for the many people. We want to be affordable and be there for the many. Now, the many is also an interesting topic, because we think we are the many in Western European and North America, but we only are about 8% of world population. So where do the many now actually also sit for IKEA? This is quite an interesting topic. Then we reach our mission through our business idea. It tells us what we should do. So we want to offer a wide range of well-designed, functional home furnishing products at prices so low that as many people as possible will be able to afford them. And then here again, we see coming back, prices so low. So we want to be affordable, offer low price products with good quality, but we want to offer those again to the many. Now, then we have a third element here, which is our values. And our culture and values actually tells you who we are and how we do things. We have 8 of those, and I won't go through all, but in my reality, they are very much connected to lean thinking and a lean mindset. And just to highlight one of those, you see here cost consciousness as the third one. To us, cost consciousness is very much about doing nothing more than the customer wants to pay for, which is exactly, I think, what lean thinking starts with, right? So what adds value and what doesn't add any value? Now, many other of these, like simplicity and renew and improve, I think connect very strongly to the lean mindset we have. We have around 460 stores in 62 markets. And as you can see here, we're good represented in Europe and North America, and lots of potentials in other areas of the world. This is a picture of Inca. I work for Inca, which is a franchise of IKEA. Now, this is a complicated company structure. I won't bore you with it, but it's good to understand that IKEA has multiple franchises, where Inca is the biggest one with around 400 plus stores around the world. IKEA stands for Ingvar Kamprad, which is our founder, and then the E stands for Elmtarid, which is the town the farm he grew up on, and then the A stands for Agunarit, which is the area that the farm was located. So this has been our brand name for the last 80 years. This year we existed 80 years. So it was founded in 1943 as a small mail order company, and actually Ingvar Kamprad was just, I think, like 15 years old when he started selling matches and post stamps, anything that there was a demand for in the area he lived in. He brought that around with his bicycle. And then at some point in time, he decided to focus on selling furniture against low price. That was already the mission back then. And that evolved into what IKEA is now today. Having said that, I need to talk a bit about how we develop products and how our company is organized and how that matches with Lean, because a lot of people that I talk to and I tell them I work with Lean within Inca, they say, oh, but IKEA is already such a Lean company, which is true. It's because of our company structure that we own the forest that has the wood that we then develop products with. And then we produce the products also ourselves, then we distribute the products ourselves, and then we sell the products ourselves. So actually we own our entire value chain, which leaves obviously a lot of room for optimizing the full value chain and not sub-optimizing certain parts of it. Now, I think the best example of how lean we are is our flat pack packaging. And this picture is a design from 1956. One of the first tables where the legs were taken off to make it easier to transport it for the customer to their home with their car. And actually this table is still in our range today. So I think that's quite cool, right? It left for some time, but then it has brought back again. So our business model is focused all around high volumes, right? We want to sell as many quantities as we can, because that also means that we can produce them against low cost. And if we can produce at low cost, then we can also offer and sell them at low prices, which then again leads to high volumes. But in these times, this is quite challenging for us, because we are facing, just as any other company, inflation, low demand, energy crisis, cost of living, climate change, many things that are influencing day-to-day business. So we're in a challenge how to make sure that we can keep our low-cost model a reality, so that we can still offer low prices and sell high volumes to maximize profits, and then maximize our business model so that we can expand further. It's difficult for us at these times, and but I don't think we're an exception to any other company in today's reality. All right, short introduction on IKEA. There's a lot more to learn, but 20 minutes is a short time, so let's move on to the next part. So obviously, as any other company, we work with strategies, and we have three main focus areas, which is the first one is to transform IKEA from a cash and carry company, which we have been for the first, let's say, 60, 70 years of our existence, to an omni-channel retailer. So we all know IKEA from you go there, you pick something yourself, you pick it up yourself, you take it home yourself, you assemble it yourself, right? But today's reality, we live differently. Customers demand more services, expect a different shopping experience, which is not only connected to the store. So we need to transform our organization from being cash and carry to an omni-channel retailer. Secondly, we need to grow, which obviously any company wants to grow, but we need to grow in order to become closer to our mission. Once we grow, we gain more profits, which we reinvest back into the company, which allows us to grow in other areas than Europe, which then allows us to be closer to the many. So this is an important thing to understand, that a lot of our profits go back into the business to grow further. And then the third focus area is to simplify. Now, obviously, you would say, this is an easy statement to make. 80 years of IKEA has brought us a lot, but 80 years of IKEA has also brought us that going from a tiny mail order company to the corporate organization we are today, that there is some complex processes in our business today, together with a complicated IT landscape, together with not so much standardization across our units. And in order for us to grow further, we need to be able to scale things, right? So we need to have simple organization or processes with standardized ways of working, so that then we can automate further. And this is a difficult reality for us today. These 3 focus areas for us are built into a business plan, which we call the 10 jobs. And one of those jobs is job 9, which is around creating a more simple and local IKEA. And to that job, we have an initiative connected, which was around operational excellence. And now we get to the heart of what I want to share with you. This initiative is around empowering co-workers to reduce waste from our processes by applying simple, lean methods and tools to get better results from daily work. So what does that look like in reality, right? So first of all, we designed, together with some help from consultant agencies, what these methods and tools look like for us, like what do we want to use to now empower all of these co-workers. And then we decided to go and test that in some places. And one of those places was a store in the UK. And one of the first things we implemented there was the team hub, which I think you also know as a day start. Simple meeting 2 or 3 times a day, touching up on certain topics, what happens in the people area, what happens in the performance areas, and what's happening in our continuous improvements, what concerns do we have, what is preventing us from reaching our KPIs, and how can we capture those and improve those in our daily work. Now, I'm not saying that this structure did not exist before, but it was not very consistent, and it was also not very structured, right? It often got to a, hey, you're also here today, catch up, which is not really the purpose of a good day start. So we gave that a bit more body, and it's working out really well now in this specific unit. Another tool we implemented is visual management by using a visual control board showing the performance in the day or during the day or in the moment, allowing the team leaders and co-workers to understand what was going wrong, capturing this, putting analysis to it, and then eliminating that root cause to make sure that we don't fight the same fire again tomorrow and the day after. And then we also applied some more simple visual management, if I can put it that way, just working with certain color-coded cards to show, okay, this needs to be resolved, this has been solved, this is an issue, etc. Another important element of one of the methods or tools we implemented, or thinking might even, is a standard work. So we took the teams to take a step back and map their process, identify waste, understand what was going wrong today and where we were facing bottlenecks, who was the customer, who was the supplier, what was the output we actually needed to produce, what was the demand the customer had, and what added value. And that gave a lot of insights to the team, and together we then designed a future state, tested that in reality, made some adjustments as we applied PDCA, and then eventually that ended up in a work instruction that is now being followed by the co-workers in this specific process. And I'm not saying that the work instruction is very different from what it was before, but now we have come to a standard agreement on how we do the work. And previously, it might have been the same work instruction, but everybody did it in a different way. So by taking people through the process, they actually understood the value of doing things in the same way and how we can improve from there. Another element we implemented was best practice sharing and implemented. So we have a big platform within Inca where people can share their best practices, but you can also download best practices. This was not used so much in the store, and we gave that an extra push because, you can get, why would you reinvent the wheel if we have 400 units that we can copy from, right? A more serious tool we trained the store on was structured problem solving, also known as A3 thinking. And this is not applied on a day-to-day basis, but if anything pops up in the team hub that cannot be resolved within the day or within a week, and is in need of a more structured approach, and these are usually problems that are cross-functional, right, where you need other departments and more stakeholders to be involved. The store then pops that into a problem-solving event using this structure to really try to get to the root cause and solve it in a sustained way. I'm not saying they do this every single day. I hope not. Let's try that. Let's hope that they can solve simple problems just in their daily work. But they needed some guidelines on how to work together to solve problems, and this helped them there. Then the last method we implemented in the store, or we implemented together with the store, is the workplace review or audit. We don't really enjoy the word audit within IKEA, so we've called it the workplace review, but it's basically simple checklist, either on a daily, weekly, or a monthly level, taken by certain people that make sure that the methods and tools are still in place. So did the team hub take place today? Is 5S still in place? How long have the raised concerns been on the continuous improvement board? Because if they've been there for 3 weeks, then you're not really solving problems in a day-to-day life, right? So it's sort of, is the workplace still organized in the way that we would like it to see organized by using the methods and tools that we have installed? Now, this led to some pretty impressive results. We were able to improve productivity with 33%. And at the same time, we were also able to reduce the amount of hours that were often borrowed from neighboring departments with almost 40%. So as you might understand, in a store work around 400 to 500 people on a day-to-day basis, probably around 100. If you don't finish something, there's always somebody who can lend a hand, right? But that's not really getting the job done in the right way. So we were able to give back those hours to the department so that they also could get their job done. And then we also improved our happy customer score on the truck deliveries and also on the click and collect pickups with quite some improvements. Now, the methods and tools as such are not complicated. I think they're quite simple to use. Maybe some exceptions like A3 thinking you would need a bit more experience, right? But the biggest thing, I think the most important thing is what we learned from doing these projects. And also because we did multiple projects in different areas that went differently, we could compare and then understood what made the difference in one being successful and the other one being less successful. So leadership involvement or leadership commitment is really, really important. There's a difference between somebody saying, yes, please go ahead and do so, or saying, yes, let's go and do it. There is two different angles to that. And the latter one, yes, let's go and do it, and I'm part of it, is really important. So in this specific store, we had a store manager who was just there every single step of the way. She went to go and see, she went to face the problems with the team, and that led to also the team really being committed to take on and apply and embrace the new methods and tools. Then another element was the realization that we have a lot of KPIs we measure, but they're not necessarily the right things to measure. So taking a step back and trying to understand what it is that we want to know and want to improve, and then only focusing on that was quite important for us. There is like 100 things you could measure, right? But maybe there is only 10 that really make the biggest difference. So we needed to get that shift in mindset from measuring everything to measuring the right things. Coaching, important element. You cannot just train and then just let people go and do it themselves. So we spend a lot of time coaching and supporting team leaders and co-workers when they were applying these tools in reality. So doing a team hub together, being there, giving feedback afterwards, and making sure they grow while applying it. Another element we faced is that sometimes the team would say, yeah, it's all additional and extra, and we sort of needed to reinforce that this lean way of thinking is already part of our DNA, but maybe we have gotten a bit astray from it in the 80 years we have been here. And the last part, and I think this will also be the biggest struggle for us going forward, is a cultural aspect where we have a culture of a very entrepreneurial spirit. We always want to do better and improve and move on. And that sometimes also means that we then do things in 400 stores in 400 different ways. And that obviously is very complicated if you're trying to get to a standard way of doing things. And this comes close to people's hearts because they often get a bit not offended, but they feel like we take away the space for creativity if we talk a lot about standardization and standard work. Whereas I see it in a different way, right? I think you can be very creative and become a lot better on top of the standard work, and then that new method becomes the new standard work. But we need to find that balance between not making people very pessimistic that they cannot improve anything anymore and we only should be doing standard things. So this is a difficult thing. Then now we did some successful projects and we have many more steps to go to deploy in all the countries we operate in. The most important element here is that we need to keep having focus on these two different elements of this journey. One is to build the capability and to teach people how to fish. And the other one is the fish that they then will catch, or the improvements that they will make. And we often focus a lot on the improvements, and then we want to lift that and scale that to all units. But the improvements would not have been there if we did not build the capability. So they go hand in hand. And that is a message we constantly have to sort of reinstate to people who are now getting really excited within the company to adopt these methods and tools, that it's not only about the outcomes and the improvements, but it's about making sure that we empower 160,000 co-workers to remove waste from their daily work by using these fishing tools. So yeah.
So
how
do you cope with it? I mean, 160,000 co-workers.
Yeah.
One of the questions we're getting is, how do you get people trained in problem solving? Because there's so many people.
Yeah, yeah, it's an immense task. I often joke I can be busy with that until I retire, which I have like 25 years to go. But we take it in phases, right? So currently we're working a lot together with the fulfillment department of our business. And we take that process for process. But we also shouldn't underestimate that good things sort of spread themselves. So people get interested and want to learn more. And want to start already. And as we also say, they are not complicated tools. They also should be able to. So we also offer a standard learning package that they can go and dive into themselves with some e-learnings and all of this to get started. Nobody should prevent you to start tomorrow, right? So there's a balance between the two.
And I think IKEA has always been investing heavily in training their own staff. So
on the job. We do a lot of training on the job. Yeah.
So that's really good. And in a way, as I understand, Ingvar Kamprad was kind of a lean guy before we called it lean.
Yeah, true.
Challenged people and said, hey, if you have a good idea, test it out. Do it in the store immediately, but do it controlled so we can learn from it. And that is very strongly, I think, in the DNA of IKEA. I have some more questions for you, Inge. So one of the questions is, what is the frequency? So how many times do you use this manager checklist that you showed, the audit?
Yeah, I didn't go into so much detail, but there is a daily checklist for either the team leader or a co-worker to take on a department. It doesn't necessarily have to be a team leader, because also co-workers are also responsible to keep the system, the methods and the tools in place. And then there is the next level, we call that the warehouse manager, is then on a weekly level. And then the next level, which we call the logistics manager or the CFF manager, is on a monthly level. And then there is a tertial check as well for the store manager. So that is the frequency that we decided upon, but obviously that could be different in other organizations, or if your company structure is set up differently.
Yeah, super. Thank you. Another third question is, can you explain a bit on how you deployed the idea of simplify? Because it's easy words, but how do you do this?
Yeah, it's also a complicated question, and I think we also within Inca struggle with it. Let's be honest about it. We have simplicity as one of our values, but it's also often one of the lowest rated things that come back in coworker engagement surveys, because we are not that simple. But this simplify focus is built up into 6 actions or 6 initiatives, where this one that I just shared is one of those 6. But other ones are, for example, having simpler co-worker tools. So it just, this is maybe like a very simple example, but we have co-workers walking around with a phone, with their own phone to use the IKEA app, and then having an RDT to scan orders. And they have like, for example, 10 different devices they need to use throughout the day. So we now have a project going on to get those 10 different devices integrated into one and make life simpler, right? But one of the other actions is around simpler governance, simpler meetings, well, things like this.
Lots going on.
Yeah.
So because it's such a big organization, and you're now been working with stores, I believe. So how do you create buy-in at these stores? You already told a bit about, okay, it starts with leadership, so really get them engaged. But how do you do this?
Yeah, I think it works in 2 ways. One is that we have a really great example of a store that has achieved this. So that sort of creates inspiration with other stores to want to learn more. And if we say it's not rocket science, then we give them the feeling that they can also do it themselves. So that's one angle. And obviously we also work together on the group level to I don't want to say push, but to deploy these ways of working in a more structured manner. So it's sort of bottom up and top down approach. You don't want to get people to do something that they're not excited about, and we get them excited by showing that this really works in reality, and then we support that from a top down perspective with the deployment strategy.
So these are some of the great examples of the work you've been doing. So how do you get your kicks out of this? Because you've been doing lean for a number of years now. You've been trained as a black belt.
Yeah, well, I just said to a colleague yesterday that at the moment I'm extremely bored because we're not doing any projects in the stores, and I am just in a preparation phase of next round of projects. But my kicks is just to go to the operations and show people how they can consistently and structurally improve. I've worked for IKEA over 15 years and have spent many years as team leader in the stores. And I know exactly what it's like when you enter your department in the morning and you're completely overwhelmed and you don't know where to start. And I want to give people the feeling that they might have issues, but they also know which methods and tools they could use to solve those. And that is a feeling of being in control, and that is where I get my kicks out of, to be able to help people in that way.
Yeah. And I think you can be proud as well, because you were able to get some leaders really inspired. So I know of Volkert, who is now in South Korea, one of the store managers, who just wants to continue lean, I think, forever. Yeah. So it's also really one at a time, one leader, and they create best examples, and then you can send people there to learn and see.
Exactly. Yeah, it's building this capability and giving people the insight. So this can help you to run your business in a good way. And that doesn't go overnight. This is a long journey, and we're in it for the long run. So let's see where we end up.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. Let's see if there's any more questions. Yes. From my colleague Sergio in Portugal, great presentation. It was clear all those aspects regarding your management system. Have you experienced the figure of value stream managers? So the idea of value stream managers, or are you still in the configuration of area and department managers? All the best. So are you thinking of value stream managers?
Yeah, we are. And this also goes in phases, right? So doing this specific project that I now talked about was on the picking process. But in order to improve that, we also obviously need to look at the collection point process for the department that's after the picking process, but also at the replenishment process that is providing the goods to be picked, right? So we did look at it from a value stream perspective in the store, but then there is another value stream in front of that. How do we even get the goods to the store, right? So there's sort of like a value stream to value stream to value stream. And it goes in phases, and I must say we're now still quite focused on the store.
Yeah. So thanks very much, Inge, for the
Yeah,
interesting
you're
story, sharing
Thank
your
you, guys.
examples
Thank you,
about
Inge.
IKEA.
Thank you, Renee. Great to have you. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye.